I was going back and forth as to whether I should make a video about this or not, but I ultimately relented because I believe there's a lot of interesting things going on within Disney's upcoming live-action Lion King prequel, Mufasa. And by interesting, I mean, oh my god, this company really is determined to self-destruct. Back in 2019, Disney treated us to a live-action take on the 1994 animated classic. To say that 1994's The Lion King is one of my absolute favorites from Disney's animated classics vault would be an understatement. I have very vivid, powerful memories of the experience I had when I first watched it as a child in the theater. The powerful opening with the chanting, the synchronization between all the wildlife as they gather to witness the crowning of the king's new son. Everything. It made a very strong impression on little old me. In 2016, it was announced that actor/filmmaker Jon Favreau would be taking charge of the live-action regurgitation retelling. And while I was initially skeptical, I felt Jon Favreau had done enough to prove himself as a filmmaker. After all, this was the same man responsible for launching the MCU with 2008's Iron Man. He also did a very underrated little Christmas movie starring Will Ferrell called Elf. We fast forward to 2019's live-action Lion King remake, and Disney could do no wrong. They had billion-dollar hit after billion-dollar hit with the likes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Star Wars knockoffs, and Pixar. Their live-action regurgitations of Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin alone had been billion-dollar hits. There was no stopping the momentum of the Mouse House. I'm sorry, I just can't help but laugh at how big the drop-off has been for Disney in recent years. I mean, goodness me! Has there ever been a company that's experienced such a nosedive off a cliff as significant and as quickly as Disney has in modern history? How's that DEI working out for you, Bobby?
We keep making the same movie over and over and pandering to everyone, but suddenly it's not working. Then we've got to pander harder!
Upon the release of 2019's The Lion King, it became clear to see that the magic had all but gone. One could certainly argue to the successes of all the other live-action Disney movies released leading up to 2019's Lion King. They had their fans as they had their critics, but I truly do believe that the live-action Lion King was the movie which finally broke the lion's back. The Lion King 2019 was a very strange, often sterile-looking movie with awkward and lifeless performances. The animation style, which was trying to emulate real life as much as possible, certainly did it no favors. I mean, it really did mute a lot of the potential vibrancy and expression that could have come out of those characters. To put it simply, it did not work. Unfortunately, the movie took in $1.6 billion at the box office, and 5 years later, we're here with Mufasa, Disney's sorry attempt to squeeze every possible last drop from the Lion King franchise. Ugh. Upon watching the trailer for Mufasa, it became very clear to me that this movie's only reason for existing isn't to tell a captivating or worthwhile story. It is simply to bleed the IP dry and subvert, twist, mutilate everything we know about Mufasa for a modern audience. You know, the one that doesn't fucking exist! We learn in this trailer that Mufasa was born without a drop of nobility in his blood. Oh, I mean, come on, again with this shit? Disney's obsession with trying to turn every single villain into a misunderstood anti-hero is frankly boring. Look no further than the straight-to-Disney Plus hot garbage movies they've put out in recent years to see that this is a trait that borders on obsessive. Is this really the best that these would-be writers at Disney can give us? I'm calling it right now. This movie will provide a totally absurd and condescending reason as to why Mufasa wasn't truly deserving of the throne, thus fully justifying why Scar murdered him in The Lion King. It seems that retconning stories to expose the respected, heroic, and majestic male characters as just undeserving patriarchal tyrants is all Disney seems to push these days. They're on a personal mission to destroy anything resembling resembling tradition. Maybe this is their way to divert attention from exactly how many clueless, undeserving, agenda-driven narcissists are currently infecting their own company. Oh, the irony. Unsurprisingly, after several hundreds of thousands of downvotes for the Mufasa trailer and the kind of high-grade trawling that would make Amazon's Rings of Power proud, Disney turned off the comments altogether. Disney's mindless exploitation of their intellectual properties continues, and make no mistake, it is catching up with them. You see, at this point, it's become totally egregious and downright mean-spirited. Ever since 2019's Lion King, the general audience's interest in Disney's live-action movies have taken a drastic nosedive. Of course, many will push the narrative that a certain virus was the reason as to why a good chunk of the movies released between 2020 and 2021 underperformed, with many of those releases outright denied a theatrical run altogether. I mean, yes, it's hard to argue with that naturally, but I raise you this counter-argument. Which Disney animated movie or live-action remake has lit the box office on fire since 2019? Disney's soulless and unnecessary live-action remake of The Little Mermaid from last year greatly underperformed. There was every expectation for that movie to join the billion-dollar club, and it failed to do so. As it stands, Disney really needs to reevaluate what they're doing. The only thing all of these mediocre, subpar live-action regurgitations are achieving is a quicker death. Once again, please help me save all the kitties by liking and subscribing. They need your help. I have to go now. Somewhere out there in the void, exorcism needs performing.